All right, you guys, I was just introducing the crew to what we're doing today. You are being recorded, and so that way everybody can see this later who wants to. I am going to step aside and just be piping in for the questions. And so what will happen is I'm going to actually let you guys introduce yourselves, since you can probably explain what you do best. And then I'm going to ask you all the same questions, and you can just give your answers if you feel like you have something you want to share, and we'll go through them and add anything that you want to add. So thank you so much again for joining us. This is our first event like this. So you're the first crew, the arts and humanity crew. So I'm going to let you start by telling us a little bit about yourself. Lisa, you're first on my screen, so we'll go Lisa, Mako, Matt, if that's okay. And just tell us about whatever you want us to know and what you do. And thanks.
Okay. Hi, I'm Lisa Utzig Schaefer, and I own Wildwood Makers Market here in town, actually co-own with Miss Bergner there. It's a small retail shop, but my focus is on supporting local independent artists. So probably the best tagline anyone ever said when they came in the shop is it's like a little Etsy shop in here. And I have that written somewhere, and that's definitely the vibe. What else? I could say a lot of stuff, but I feel like there's a lot of questions. I grew up here in Tahoe. I got my Spanish degree there at LTCC, and then I have an art education degree from Humboldt State. And then probably a lot of the other info will be in the questions.
Hi, I'm Mako. I am a calligraphy artist and illustrator, and I own Flamenco Designs here in town. I grew up here as well. I didn't go to high school here, but I did go to LTCC, and I have a liberal arts and humanities degree from there. And then I got an English literature degree, and I have a master's in book publishing. So yeah, hi everybody.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Matt Kaufman. I'm a muralist and custom artwork creator. I also went to LTCC and transferred to Sierra Nevada College, got a BFA up there, and then a Master's of Arts in Teaching. When I'm not making murals and client work, I teach students how to paint. So I work at the high school.
Thanks, guys. I love that you guys all went to LTCC. That's really cool. So talk a little bit more about what your career path and your educational path was like. What jobs have you had in the past? How did you get to where you are today? Lisa, we'll just keep starting with you.
Sorry, my iPad's upside down, so every time I hit unmute, you get to see my hand. My career path. Well, probably if you're sitting in and you're watching this, you're into the arts of some sorts. And I was always an artist, always. And I always wanted to go to art school. But some of you also know that a lot of artists are really sensitive and end up working in fields like counseling and social work and stuff like that. So I actually, after I graduated with my degree in art education, I wanted to teach art, but I didn't go and get my credential. And I was like anxious to come back home. And so I moved back here, and I actually started working at the Women's Center, Live Violence Free. So my whole adult career, I was working in that line of work. I worked there. I did the TRIO program. I did suicide prevention. But simultaneously, I was always doing something in the arts. So whether it was like, I did like the BATS program in the schools where you bring arts in the schools. It's a volunteer thing. I did the art club at Bijou. And then I was always like doing my own thing and doing little craft fairs. And so at some point I was like, I want to flip flop this. I don't want like the social work, nonprofit work to be my primary, and my love of art and teaching art and making art being my second thing. I wanted to swap it so that art was my main thing. And the store came about because I actually always had a desire to open a little shop among like my 50 other ideal jobs I wanted in my life. Everything from like, I want to be a cartoon voice person to opening a store. You know, I feel like every artist knows, like you have like 1,000 things that you would love to do because your mind is always going. And we don't have a lot of cute little shops in our town. I mean, we have Guyalicious, which is my neighbor. They're awesome. They've been around a long time. We have Botanical Arts and the bookstore, but even some of those stores are new. And growing up here, we've always had like one or two. And I just felt like there was a little gap in what we had here in town. And we have art galleries, but there wasn't really many places for like makers and crafters to showcase their stuff. So I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to swap things and I'm going to open a store to support other people like me. That's my path.
So let's see. I have always loved art. I've always been creative in one way or another. I did a lot of art in high school, but it never like occurred to me that that could be a career path. So I grew up thinking I wanted to be a marine biologist. And I came to LTCC still thinking I wanted to be a marine biologist, and took my first biology class and was like, yeah, no, I don't want to do this. So I ended up being an English major because I've always loved reading. Yeah, when I transferred to San Francisco State, that's what I got my degree in. And then I worked for a little while after my undergrad and decided I wanted to go back to school because I love school because I'm weird. And I got my master's in book publishing because I thought that would be like a way to not only like have a 9-to-5 job, but also like sort of have a creative outlet as well, because it's sort of a creative process. And after I graduated, I ended up taking over Bonafide Books, which was out in Myers. And I ran that for a year, and it was really hard. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it all by myself. It's not an easy field to be in, and to run a small printing press by yourself. So I gave up that dream, and someone encouraged me. I had been doing calligraphy as a hobby in grad school, and someone encouraged me that, you know, I could actually make a living at it. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I started my business, not really putting like a lot of effort into it, thinking it wasn't really gonna work out, and it totally has. And I love every minute of it. And it helped me realize that like a 9-to-5 job is not what I'm about. So I really enjoy owning my own business and making beautiful things.
Awesome. Okay, so my educational background, my career path started, I guess, right after high school. My background's in graffiti. I spent a lot of time in my youth studying street art and graffiti art and participating in creating works of art without permission. And after I graduated high school, I needed a break from school. And so I just picked up, I went into a sign shop randomly. I was riding my bike by and just stopped in to see if they were hiring on the off chance. And they were slammed, overwhelmed with work, and they hired me pretty much on the spot. And from like, I always had a desire, like an interest in graphic design, but it's totally different when you're actually in the industry. I'm doing real design for real clients with real money. And so I learned a whole lot about design and screen printing and just the world of vector graphics. And did that for a few years, got really burned out, and realized that my personal art was kind of put on hold. Like was doing design all day for clients that I wasn't really stoked on and didn't really believe in. I learned a whole lot, and a lot of the skills that I learned at that first job, I apply today in just my process. But I felt like there was more. And so I quit that job and decided to go to college. I was living in Houston at the time, and I enrolled in a community college and just pursued graphic design. And again, having worked in the industry, the assignments that we were being given at that school weren't very realistic. They're very different than industry-related work. And let's see, I ended up transferring out to Tahoe in 2004 and intending just to take a break and be here for a year, just skiing. And that turned into a couple more years, and discovered LTCC and decided to go back and start taking some art classes and get back in the process of making art. And somewhere along the line decided like, hey, it's not that much work to just get my associates out of the way. And so completed that and started creating stuff again. And I would run into people and they'd see my work in random places, coffee shops and etc. And they'd ask for custom pieces to be created. And at first I wasn't charging a whole lot for my work. And the more and more people requested unique pieces and larger murals, I realized I can make money doing this, pretty good money doing this. So I launched my mural company, Tree Fort Design, and started taking on jobs and being kind of a serious mural artist, deciding to put my passion into kind of overdrive mode and come up with a business plan and just take it seriously and make the most of it. All the while finished up at Sierra Nevada, and I don't know what it is, but I've always had a desire to teach. I enjoy working with youth. I've always enjoyed helping kids out, and they had a pretty cool master's program at Sierra Nevada College, so I was able to knock out BFA as well as master's level, like graduate level coursework at the same time. And I feel like I'm rambling. That's kind of my educational path though. And here I am now. So juggling teaching full-time and being a full-time muralist. So it can be a lot, but time management is crucial. So.
Thank you guys so much for sharing. No, that was all really good information. Hold on. Oops. Okay, so you can't see the crew out here because I'm recording this so that I can put it on the website, but everybody's smiling and nodding and laughing, and I mean, in the appropriate spots. So next, will you walk us through what's a typical day like for you, if there is one? What kind of education do you need to get into your work?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, do it.
I mean, a retail shop, I don't know that you need any formal education. You know, it depends on what your shop is going to be about. But if you're opening a little store like I did, I think it's like a self-taught thing. You know, what's your mission? What are you trying to, obviously, okay, my mission was to support local artists, right? So I think a lot of it was self-taught. What does our community want? What's popular right now? What is my mission with what is my mission? I feel like most retail shops don't necessarily have a mission, but the fact that I came from nonprofit work and helping people and wanting to still be not just a store in my community, but a place that is supporting local artists. And, you know, I was thinking in particular, what is my mission? But I don't know that you need a specific, you do need a certain skill set. And I think one thing I learned is that, you know, nobody has it all, right? Like I am really great at coming up with ideas and having a vision, but I need help implementing that sometimes. So I did open the store by myself. I'm the type of person that's like, I get an idea and I just do it. And I don't think I really consider it not working, which has its pros and cons, right? Like I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and I do it. And for me in my life, most things that I've done have worked out for me, and I think that's a mindset thing, and maybe a little bit of luck, and maybe a little bit of skill. But 3 years in, I realized that I don't have all the skills, and there were a few things I was struggling, and that's actually when Miss Nicole Bergner and I partnered, which was the best decision of my entire life, because you don't have all the skill sets, especially artists. Let's be real. A lot of us artists are dreamers, and like I said, we're really good at ideas, and maybe we're really good with connecting with people. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're introverted, and that's not our thing. But wherever you're lacking, you really need to reach out for help. So for me, it was having an amazing partner that had a skill set I don't have. but it could also just be, we tend to put everything on our shoulders and wanting to do it all ourselves. Especially if we're like, I started out with on a really small budget, but I think the most important thing, if you're thinking about doing what I have done, is just reaching out to people that have the skills that you are lacking in and getting that help so that you can be a good functioning business. I also did a lot of like workshops online. I met with somebody from the chamber. When I started taking this seriously, I started reaching out to people that had information I didn't have. So online workshops, reaching out to people in the community, putting my feelers out there. What does our community want? Why are some reasons businesses fail? Why are some reasons they're successful? So it was a lot of self-research. That's it.
Let's see. I don't know that there's any formal educational training for what I do either. I mean, you can certainly go to art school and learn all the skills, or go to business school and learn how to, create your own business. I don't think I would have been able to start my own art business without having first run the publishing house. I learned a lot about business there, and a lot about like what it takes on the daily to be successful. I would say networking is like was a huge thing for me as well. I feel like I got a lot of my first jobs by word of mouth, or by connecting with friends that, also did the same sort of thing and didn't have time for certain jobs or whatever. They would pass it on to me. And I sort of just like worked my way in. And so that really helped too. My typical day it's different every day, which is what I love about it. My schedule is super flexible. And most days I don't feel like I'm working because I love what I do. So it doesn't feel like a job. So yeah.
All right. Let's see. My typical day really starts with preparing the night before. So if I have a current mural job going, it's imperative that I get set up and dialed in to be successful the day before. I don't like to scramble and arrive to a job site and not have everything that I need to be successful for the day. So making sure I have all of my reference photos printed out, and making sure I have all my paints and whatever materials I'm going to need for the day. And if I'm outside, making sure I've got the proper equipment, clothes, gloves, whatever I need. Then the day's spent just creating. So yeah, lots of preparation, like I said, because you're kind of like at the site for, I don't know, I typically work 6 to 8 hours, and I'm kind of done after that, especially if I'm working on a ladder. 6 to 8 hours is good for me. So days, yeah, a typical day on a job, on a project is pretty fun, just getting to create. A lot of prep work goes into those production days though. So when I'm in between jobs or I'm in the design phase, it's a lot of time just sketching and doing design, going back and forth with clients, showing renderings, maintaining like an ongoing dialogue to make sure that we're tracking in the right direction. If it's like a bespoke piece with very specific criteria, just making sure I'm communicating clearly with the client and representing their vision accurately. As far as education and training that's required, I'm sorry, is your name Mako? Yeah, like Mako said, you can go to school, and that really helps. It was good practice for me to be in the studio and learn techniques and just practice various jobs, like just projects in regards to painting, and getting a better understanding of how to achieve certain techniques or go about doing certain practices. But I'd say the most important thing is just like being an apprentice, like finding somebody that you can work under and just kind of learn the things that are unique to being on the job site when doing custom mural work. Every job's a little different, but having done quite a few, you realize to anticipate and expect, kind of plan ahead for the unexpected things that you don't necessarily anticipate. And that's a unique skill set that I feel like only comes with like practicing the job. That school can like get you, I don't know, 85% of the way there. But actually being an apprentice and working on job sites is the only way to, I feel, really get 100% idea of what to expect and able to be successful as a muralist.
Thanks for sharing all that insight, guys. And I brought Lisa on this panel so she would say nice things about me. So no, talk to us a little bit about what are some of the biggest challenges of your job or something that surprises you the most.
Well, if I'm going to talk more about Nicole, my biggest challenge was the paperwork and the money management and all that garbage that I'm like terrible at. And that was why I said it was so great for me to partner, because that is just not my skill set, you know. I mean, I've had to do that in all of the jobs I've had, but my whole career, even though it wasn't in the arts, I had jobs that were people focused and that were different every day, and where I was like out in the community and educating. And so I guess I didn't mention in the last answer like what a typical day is for me, but you know, retail, most people have worked retail at some point. It's different every day. The days that I love, what I do love is talking to people all day. Sometimes I don't like it. I mean, I'm pretty extroverted, but you know, working with the public can be weird and people can be weird. But for the most part, working with the public is my favorite part of the job. I already forgot what the question was. Oh, what we found, what was hard. What was hard was just that other stuff, staying organized and you know, doing the money management and all of that. Like it would definitely help probably to take business classes. I had said in my last answer that I did a lot of like workshops and I met with the chamber and everything. And that was really helpful, but there were still things that I struggled with, like the behind the scenes stuff. That was the hard part for me. I'm really good at talking to customers and curating the shop and finding, you know, things that sell well and making it look cute and all of that. But that's not all that is part of running a business. You know, there are a whole lot of different parts to running a business. And that's why I said, you know, if there's a part that you struggle with, maybe your struggle is with the people, you know. Like I was talking to an artist the other day. I took my son down to the SAC anime fair in Roseville, and I was talking to an artist, and he had mentioned something about, oh, I want to have a TikTok. And I said, oh, I follow lots of artists on TikTok. It's really cool to see artists process. And he was saying how he wasn't really that into being on the camera. And I said, you don't have to be on the camera, like, especially with art, like people want to see like the process and how you got there and watch you doing it and see how far you've come. But let's say, you know, the whole social media thing is a struggle for you in general. That's where you can hire somebody for that too. So if you're not hiring somebody to help you do your budget or run your books, maybe you're hiring somebody to help you with your presence in the community or in your social media. But anyway, that was my struggle. And then I got an awesome partner who helps me with that.
Yeah, similar to Lisa, I don't love the business side of things. I need a Nicole. But I do it. I taught myself QuickBooks. I probably should take some business classes. But like Lisa, sometimes I'm like, woo, up here with the art and don't want to do anything business related. The best advice I was given was that when you own your own business, the first thing you should do when you start your workday is to do something that will make you money. So whether that's like marketing or reaching out to like, you know, prospective clients or anything that will make you money. And then you can go do the fun stuff for the rest of your day. And at least you did one thing that might bring in some income. My other challenge, unlike Lisa, is I am such an introvert that sometimes I have a very hard time with people. And in this business, sometimes I'm interacting directly with the customers themselves. A lot of times I work with like wedding planners or florists or event planners. So there's sort of a buffer between me and the client. But sometimes clients come directly to me, and I've had clients in the past that are like, here's the envelopes on Tuesday and I want them done on Friday. And I'm like, okay, that's not how this works. So I think learning how to like stand my ground, but also be professional about it, is a challenge for me. And remembering like my worth as an artist as well, that like I shouldn't be doing jobs in 3 days and not charging a rush fee or whatever, things like that. So yeah.
All right. The most challenging part about my job, there's a couple things that are kind of challenging. Let's see. I guess the most challenging part for me, I've discovered, is just maintaining like the creative energy, and creating, like making stuff, even when I don't necessarily feel like making stuff. It's really important that like, as a professional artist, we're always like perfecting our craft and kind of honing our skills. And that has, like, by forcing myself to be creative or to do something like productive and creative, even when I don't necessarily feel like it, especially like after a big job, I just kind of like want to take a break and not paint for a little while or even doodle or do anything. But by being diligent and doing that on a regular basis, the next job that comes up, I'm able to fire a little bit faster and produce something a little bit quicker. And it's just more productive. I guess it's like anything, you know, when we practice, we're fresh and we're able to pivot and respond faster. So that's one of the challenges. I'm also an introvert. So in running your own business, it's really important to like maintain client relationships and be outgoing even when I don't necessarily want to. And I found that it's been really helpful to make a point of interjecting what I do in just like small talk conversation when I meet new people, because everyone is a prospective client. You never know what a conversation will lead to. And so doing it in a humble way, not bragging about yourself, but making a point to just like talk about what I do is kind of challenging for me. I'd rather just like kind of be in the back of the room and not be in the spotlight a lot of the time. Let's see, second part of that question. What has surprised me? I guess it's like people's, in working with clients, how comfortable people are in wasting your time. I've had, unfortunately, you know, a handful of clients every year that don't really have any intention in moving forward and hiring you, but they're happy to have you jump through the hoops. So in hopes that you'll get the gig. But I guess that's been a surprise in seeing like other people may have like lots of free time on their hands. And you know, I don't look at any blunder or mistake as a failure. I look at it as an opportunity to like learn for next time. And so it's been good, giving me the opportunity to kind of like create a buffer so that I don't waste too much time unnecessarily or without getting some sort of deposit or paid something, even for a consultation and even a quick sketch or whatever it might be. So that's been an unfortunate surprise that I've discovered in working with general public, but we're all human. Nobody's perfect. So.
Thanks. Good advice, you guys. So the other side of that, what is your favorite part about your work, or what are you excited about right now?
I think we get my favorite part, which is people. Which I'm laughing because sometimes that can be really hard too. But I think also my favorite part is supporting artists. Like I get really excited when, well, let me back up because we were talking about things that were difficult. And I will say that when I first opened the shop, we were also talking about boundaries. I had a really, really hard time saying no to people that came in with their work to put in the store. And so I wouldn't, and I would just take anybody's stuff. And then one day I'm like in my shop and I'm looking around and I'm thinking, this isn't really how I pictured my store. Because on one hand, yes, I want to support local and independent artists, but also this is like one of my dreams and I want it to be a certain way, you know, and it is a retail store and I wanted it to feel and look a certain way. And so I had a really hard time saying no. I wouldn't say no to anybody. And I had to learn boundaries when it came to that. But at the same time, it's really exciting. We go, instead of like to big, when you're in retail, they have like big buying shows, you know, throughout the year. You might go to like Las Vegas or New York. And I did do that in the beginning. I went to a couple, but since my focus is on independently made items for the most part, those big buying shows didn't really make a lot of sense. So I love going to other cities and towns and going to other little shops and meeting artists. I love finding people on Instagram and Etsy and reaching out. And I get really excited when we have a new artist in the shop and I get excited sharing. I think that's one thing. There's two things I like about talking with people in the store. I like to hear about like where they're from and I don't know, their story. And then I also really like to tell them the stories of the artists that we carry in the shop. You know, like it's so much more intimate than regular retail. You know, somebody's going to pick up this, not this, but you know, they're going to pick something up and they're going to ask about it. And I get to say, oh, well, actually, let me tell you about this art. This is a local artist. And, you know, there's somebody that's really involved in the community and they do this, this, and this. Or I get to say, oh, we found this independent artist when we went to Salt Lake City and we actually got to meet them and go into their studio and see their process. And so that's what I love. And I'm an artist myself and I do make some things in the store. But I just like that, making those connections, supporting artists. And then I get excited about the shoppers getting excited. You know, we sell a bunch of items made by a local artist, Gilberto Ramos, and he also is a chef here in town. And how many people come in and say, ooh, I bought a piece of Gilberto's before. And oh, I met him at the restaurant and he was so nice. And just that whole sense of community. And even if it's outside of Tahoe, that artist community is still small. And I love making all those connections.
So I guess the most favorite part of my job, there's so many things. I am not really great at like coming up with the ideas, but I'm really good at executing other people's ideas. So when I get the email that's like, hey, can you make this? I get really excited because a lot of times it's something maybe I haven't done before. And I love that challenge of, you know, it's scary, but I'm going to make this. And then when it comes out and it comes out the way I want, I get really excited. Yeah. And then I guess just working on projects themselves. I could spend hours and hours doing it. And half the time I do and don't even realize it's 9 o'clock at night. And I've worked 5 hours and it went by like so quickly. So yeah. And then the other thing is, I'm always trying to learn new things. So I'm always looking for other classes I can take online or projects I can learn about or machines I can learn about or tools I can learn about. So I think, yeah, those are the two things I get really excited about.
All right. I guess my favorite part of my job is creating art that makes people happy, that like transforms their day, their experience, their environment. I recently did a project at Barton in the pediatric wing, and I think it's one of the highest compliments that I've ever gotten. And it was one of the nurses just talking about how when the little kids come into the space, they're really nervous and they think they're going to get a shot and it's going to hurt, or just like being in a doctor's office can be like a scary experience. And she said that when they go into the rooms that I painted, they're much more calm, and some of the kids light up with a smile, and it totally distracts them from being in a doctor's office. And anyways, my favorite part is just like making stuff that makes other people happy. Some things that I'm excited about right now coming up, I've got it's my first solo show in a gallery in December. So I'm pretty pumped about that, down in Palm Desert. So that's pretty exciting and a little intimidating, just coming up with an entire show's worth of work, but exciting nonetheless.
Congrats on your show, Matt. So if you guys could go back to when you were 18 and start over, would you do things the same way, or would you change anything?
That's like a loaded question for me. Because, well, I don't really believe in regret, right? Because every choice you've made in your life, whether you feel like it was a bad choice, a good choice, a mistake, a learning lesson, they're all learning lessons, and they all have brought you to where you're at today. So when I was 18, I was in the Army. I feel like it was like a whole thing. I wanted to go to art school, and I didn't do well in high school. I was very angsty. I was in all the plays and I was involved in school, but academically I was just not into it. Then at LTCC, I was in honors. Woo-hoo. Thanks, LTCC. LTCC also helped me figure out I had a learning disability too. So that was a big turning point for me. But when I was 18, I was in the Army because I didn't know how I was going to go to school. I didn't have the grades. My family didn't have the money. So and then they were like, you cannot do that, Lisa. You don't even like pass PE. Like, I don't know what you're thinking. And so, if you are, rebellious, you're like, oh yeah, let me show you. So from 17 to 21, I was in the military, and then I came home and went straight to LTCC and used my GI Bill to help put me through college. So I wish that I could have been that kid that graduated and went straight to art school. I mean, that would have been awesome. But at the same time, I wonder if I would be who I was today, because that experience in the military, even though it was hard and I dealt with crazy stuff like sexual harassment and, icky things you hear about, it made me really confident. It was like a switch flipped. It's when I realized that if I set my mind to something, I can do it. So if I hadn't have done that, maybe I'd still just be like a floundering person, maybe I would not be as confident as I am and not taken other risks in my life that led me to the life that I really wanted. So that's my answer. So I wouldn't change anything, even though it was a weird road to where I'm at. It really, made me who I am and got me here.
Yeah, same for me. I don't think I would have changed a single thing. I might have told myself, my 18-year-old self, that it's going to be okay and you're going to end up where you're supposed to, because I feel like I had a lot of angst about like, oh my gosh, I have to finish school and I have to get a 9-to-5 and I have to be successful, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. And I think everything has led up to where I am. And yeah.
You guys' answers are so wise. I guess I agree though. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm at school, so that was the bell. No kids. So yeah, I agree. We've got to live with the knowledge of like we can't go back and change anything. But like Mako, you were saying, if I could speak to my 18-year-old self, I would just tell him to go for it, and not like second guess yourself. Like just do it. don't don't worry about if you might fail, because every, like I was saying earlier, every like mistake is an opportunity to improve and get better. And so I hesitated a lot. Yeah, like 18 to 22, was like, I don't know, am I good enough? Will people, can I actually make it doing art? And the answer is a resounding yes, that if we make up our mind to do anything, then it'll happen. So no regrets. I would have taken the same path because, like Lisa was saying, who knows where we would have ended up. So I'm stoked on the path that I took. But yeah, just as soon as you have an idea, act on it. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. That's, I guess, how I would summarize that answer.
Thank you. What skills or qualities do you think are important for somebody who wants to go into your line of work, or are there traits that are not a good fit?
I feel like I kind of already answered that for me, for my line of work, which is running a retail shop. Like, you can be any kind of person, but you just need to fill the gaps with what the stuff that you don't excel at, just stick somebody else in there. And it could be running the storefront and it could be running in the back, but I don't know. I feel like that was kind of I already answered that, and that's still my answer, is just reach out for help. You can do anything. Just reach out for help for the parts you don't feel confident in.
Yeah, for my line of work, I feel like if you like the structure of a 9 to 5, you could probably incorporate that into owning your own business, like set a daily alarm for 9 to 5, and then that could be your schedule. If you don't, then that's great too, but you have to be self-motivating. And it's a business. It takes money, and money goes out and money comes in. So you have to make sure that like you're doing something that will make the business successful. And I feel like I had one more thing to say. Oh, and you have to pretty much be very you have to be confident in yourself. And sometimes that can be hard for introverted people. I know it's hard for myself, but half the time when I get jobs that maybe I've never done before, I will just be super confident in my response and say, yes, I would love to do that. I have all these ideas of how to do it, and I'm gonna do it. And then that gives myself a challenge. And they know none the wiser that maybe I've never done that sort of project before because I'm so confident about it. So yeah, those two things.
I'd say I agree with you 100%, Mako, that having a level of confidence is important, and then being firm on like your ideals, what you think is important. Let's see, a skill set that's really important is to, I'd say, be transparent and honest and punctual. Show up on time, respond in an appropriate amount of time to clients. I make a point of checking email multiple times throughout the day if I'm in the design phase, going back and forth with clients, to ensure that they're not left hanging. If there's something that I've rendered and they've asked for a revision to be made, I try to respond in an appropriate amount of time that day, within a couple hours at least. Is there a personality type that's not suited for your work? I don't think so. We come in all shapes and sizes, and all personality types. So yeah, I don't think that there's any exclusion or excluding factor that would limit somebody from doing what I do. Yeah.
Thanks. All right, guys. So last question here. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to follow your path, or what is something that you wish you would have known before starting down the path?
Oop, whoops, I turned myself off. I feel like I was just thinking about Matt's answer too, like you need to be reliable and consistent. So for me, when I was like, okay, I want to open a store, I grew up here, so I've seen a lot of businesses close and not make it. And I had to think, well, why have some of these other cute little shops that were something I'd like to go to and shop at, how come they didn't make it? And consistency was a big one. I noticed that a lot of businesses in town don't make it because they don't keep consistent hours, or, they close because it's a good powder day and they want to go ski. And, your customer is going to try only so many times to go. And if they keep going and your hours keep changing and you're closed and all this, then they're not going to try again. So I really looked into a lot of that, like what has helped certain businesses in town succeed and not succeed. So for the succeed side, like I was a big fan of Guylicious and friends with Kelly and Felix, and I really went to them a lot as mentors to pick their brain because they have had a successful shop. I think their shop's been open 15 years now and ours has been open 7. And so I went to them and they were so awesome and such great mentors in helping me figure out what it takes to open a small retail shop. So consistency, reaching out to mentors. Again, I already forgot the question, which is, I have them on my phone right here too. I start talking and then I'm sure a lot of you guys do that if you have an artist brain. Was it, what is something you wish you'd known? Thanks, Mako. I don't know. That's the end of my answer. I think I'm talked out.
What is something I wish I had, let's see. So I feel like if you know you love it, and you can see yourself doing it in like 10 and 20 and 50 years, then you should just go for it. You got to believe in yourself. It's scary to take that leap to go into business for yourself, but if you love what you're doing, it's 1,000% worth the risk. And then also to remember that your path might change, but being flexible is really important, because as long as you put in the work into it, into your journey, you're gonna end up just fine. So yeah, those are my 2 words of advice.
All right. I would say to seek out somebody that can help guide you when just getting started. Like Lisa, you were saying, find a mentor. And my experience has been really positive. Like other small business owners are more than happy to like share their wisdom on their processes and how they grew their business and what practices they employ to continue to be successful. So yeah, the friends that I have that run businesses, I've never had anybody say like, no, I'm not going to help you out. So finding somebody that can help kind of like mentor and guide you, I feel like is kind of like my advice. And then set goals, be goal oriented, and check in like, I don't know, something I did early on is like, why do I do what I do? Why do I want to do this? Like, what is it about creating art in a public sphere or for a specific person that I really enjoy doing? And so, being true to your passions, and then reading and doing research and seeking out other entrepreneurial advice. Stephen Covey, Chris Do, Donald Miller are just a handful of the people that I check in with regularly, just as far as advice and knowledge bases. I think I answered both the questions. Something I wish I'd known. I guess to expect the unexpected, that, you can only do so much planning, but being okay with, I think one of you guys, I think it was Mako, that said your path might change. So being okay with things maybe not working out the way you'd intended. And as long as we've made the decision, like, oh, I'm going to see this thing through, it'll be okay.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for sitting down with us today and sharing so much insight in such a short amount of time. Do you have anything, any parting words, any last thoughts that you want to share, or you good? No, thank you. All right. Well, really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys. There's other people back there. Thank you guys.
Us.
Have a good day.